You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 138. On today's Small and Supercharged podcast, we're joined by someone who you may not know, but you will do very soon, who is called Lauren Malone. And she is one of the lovely ladies I get to work with through Enterprise Nation. I've known Lauren probably about a year now, actually, since I became a She Means Business accredited trainer. And I'm really excited to have her on the podcast today because she does amazing things, particularly for females in business. So thank you so much for joining us today, Lauren.
Thank you so much for having me. No, I'm really delighted to be here. Thank you.
So can you tell us a bit about how you got to do what you do now and what your official title is as well, actually?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess a little bit about me. I've always worked in event management in some capacity. So I graduated university, I think it's 9 years ago now, and I have ran various different events from weddings to congresses in Chicago for doctors to meetings, and now I'm so excited that I get to, as you say, support female entrepreneurs. And I'll be completely honest, it's something that I sort of fell into, but quite quickly discovered that it is a real passion that I've sort of had really, which has been amazing. So yeah, always worked in events. Joined Enterprise Nation, which I'll share a bit more about, just over 2 years ago now. So Enterprise Nation exists to support small businesses, putting it quite simply, and we run various different campaigns with different sponsors, different partners, to ultimately support a business owner on their journey. So I run, we'll probably go a bit further into it, but I run the female entrepreneurship campaigns at Enterprise Nation. And yeah, I kind of call myself a bit of a cheerleader for women in business, which is quite cool. So yeah, just really, being a champion for them and supporting them on their journey in various ways, I guess.
You definitely are a big cheerleading champion for women in business. Absolutely. And how has it changed over the last year? Because before you were obviously involved in a lot of physical events, and this will be coming out in January. But over the last, since March, obviously everything's moved online, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And you know what? It's been a huge learning curve for me. I've always, done various things online. I've done the odd Zoom meeting, or I've had a virtual call, but I've never really in my career, I guess, ran things online. So for me personally, it's been a real sort of a personal and professional development sort of year. And we've really just had to kind of roll with it and just get the job done, I guess. We didn't really have much time to sit around and wait. We had to quickly pivot. Don't really like that word, it's been overused this year, but the campaigns existed to support women on their journey, and a lot of that was meeting face to face, and it was meeting in different areas of the UK. But we had to stop all that, and we had to quickly think, okay, how can we support women that are going to be sat on their laptop at home, potentially feeling quite overwhelmed, and lonely and isolated potentially. So yeah, huge learning curve for me, and learning really, I guess, what works well in a virtual capacity. I think the danger was to sort of put everything online, and I think actually not all events that work in an offline capacity do in fact work online, if that makes sense. So it's been really working out what people wanted and what people needed, and making sure that we were there for them really. And I was quite naive, thinking, oh, it'll just be a few weeks back in March, and we'll be able to do our great events back in the summer. I usually do Festival of Female Entrepreneurs in October, which is one of our flagship events. It's a really high energy day in Bristol with 200 attendees. Networking, speakers, panels, and an expo area, and we just couldn't do that. So I've had to quickly learn event platforms. I've had to become more confident really from a tech perspective, which hasn't always been my thing. So yeah, I would say in a nutshell, it's been a real learning experience for me and the events team, I guess, at Enterprise Nation.
I think it's been really hard as well, because I know a while ago I was chatting to someone, and they were saying obviously it's great that you can go to events and you don't have to travel around the place, but, and I'm not just picking on Zoom because I love Zoom and we're recording this on Zoom, but kind of Zoom fatigue, or all the other different platform fatigue is a real thing, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. And you know what? I really thrive off other people. I am quite a positive person, and you know, when I do meet people, I am enthusiastic. I like to ask questions, and that's great. And you can do that on Zoom, but as you say, it's that being switched on all the time. So I think some people thought, oh, brilliant, this is going to be great. We get to sit at home in our pajamas and kind of be behind a screen and not do much. But actually, it's been the opposite, because you've almost had to do more. You've had to work harder to meet new people. You've had to work harder to put on really, you know, quality events that people want to attend, and make sure that you're supporting people the best you can. So yeah, I think Zoom fatigue is real, and I think it's been a roller coaster for many. I think we started off super positive, and you know, people were signing up for everything. It was a great opportunity to learn, and then everyone went a little bit flat, and then it picked up again. And then I don't know about you, you know, we're in December now, and I think everybody is just really, really due a Christmas break. I think we all need,
Yeah.
you know, a couple of weeks off Zoom. We need to hopefully, fingers crossed, see our family, relax and recharge, and reset for the new year, I think.
No, I think you're right. And I think I know I've been speaking to quite a few people over the last few weeks, and the general feeling is everybody is just a bit tired. And
Mm.
obviously, you know, as this goes out in January, I'm sure everyone will be feeling fully recharged. But it has been a long old year. And as you say, in March, I mean, I know I thought, well, a couple of months maybe, this will all be sorted. We'll be back to doing normal things again. And I mean, we're still quite a way off that. Obviously, it's brilliant the vaccine's coming through, and that's going to be incredible. But it has been a long old year, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think what people maybe didn't realize at first, that, you know, this hasn't been, should I say, a normal year. And I think people were almost feeling the pressure to overperform and be so productive, and think, oh, I just have to do everything. And you know, I think we all were quite guilty of that in the start, and I know from my perspective, I very quickly sort of got to that burnout feeling of, oh, actually, you know, I need to make sure I'm looking after myself, so I can be there for my, you know, family or friends that are maybe having a more of a difficult time than me, and be there in a work capacity, being that cheerleader for female founders that are going through that real roller coaster of emotions as they try to, you know, maintain their business. So yeah, I totally get that. And I think, you know, self-care and slowing down has been really, really useful, I guess I would say, for me this year. And I've always been quite into, you know, health and well-being, and ensuring that I am looking after myself. I didn't used to in the past, and I've sort of learned the hard way. So I think if there has been a positive from this year, it's making sure that you are looking after yourself and taking it slow. And I think not feeling guilty if you do need to rest, and just, you know, have that sort of lazy evening or that weekend where you are just relaxing and doing what you want to do, and taking some time for yourself. Because yeah, I feel like it's been a year of over, should I say, pressure. You know, I make the best banana bread, I'm losing weight, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And actually, we've just had to kind of just take it day by day, I think, is what I've sort of learned over this past sort of 8-9 months.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly think that anyone that's kind of come out the other side of this of 2020 and is feeling kind of positive and recharged, or even that they're going to give it, they're going to go for it again.
Mm.
I think that everyone's won. That everyone that is here has won, because it has just been really tough, and it's been tough for people in so many different ways. Whether people have had children at home, or they are used to working in a busy office environment and they haven't left the house for weeks, or it's just had challenges for everybody, but in lots of different ways as well.
Definitely. And I think that's brought us almost together, sort of collectively, because actually, as you say, yes, some people have been impacted more so than others, which is totally, you know, understandable. And I sympathize and I empathize. But at the same time, like you say, every single person that I come across, every single person that I speak to in my immediate family, friends, colleagues, you know, people I've met online via social media, etc., everybody is feeling the pressure and the impact of this year in some way. So yeah, I just hope we can come out of this I guess, stronger as a community. I really hope for that, and I hope that we kind of get through the next sort of few months, whatever that might look like, together, I guess.
Definitely. Now, you've mentioned, obviously, at Enterprise Nation, your particular focus is on female entrepreneurs. And there are three things, actually, that I know you're responsible for. One that you've mentioned, which is the Festival of Female Entrepreneurs. And then there's the She's Got This campaign. And then there's the She Means Business campaign. And that's one that I know the most about. I know I've done a little bit with She's Got This as well. But the She Means Business campaign, I think, is brilliant. And this is a program I'm one of the accredited trainers for. There's quite a few across the country that I know you're going to tell me about. And this was something that is run by Enterprise Nation, powered by Facebook, and used to be physical, smaller events all over the UK. And that's had to have a big shift online as well. So can you tell us about the campaign, what it's all about, how it started, and then kind of how it's evolved over the last year?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the She Means Business campaign, as you mentioned, it's a Facebook campaign, but we were brought on as Enterprise Nation to help facilitate the training element. So the campaign itself has been running, I believe, for over 4 years. I came on board, it'll just be nearly 2 years at the end of the year. And it started really as an initiative to help female entrepreneurs in particular feel more confident growing their business online, and feel more confident using social media platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, etc. And now we've got even more in the past few years, to really connect with their audience and ultimately drive sales, whether that is a service-based business or a product-based business. But I guess it's evolved now, and you know, there is that element of training, obviously, but it's now more of a community. And I know that you guys as trainers do deliver training, but also you facilitate meetings and networking opportunities, and the opportunities for women to connect in a safe and space environment, and have the opportunity to collaborate and meet people in their area. I think I guess a bit of a negative impact of this year for the campaign, in my eyes, is obviously, as you mentioned, we have 24 trainers across the UK, of which you are one, which is amazing. And pre-COVID times, our trainers would be really at that sort of grassroots level, and they would be in their local community meeting women. You know, they would be having coffee mornings at various different venues and troubleshooting social media and facilitating training workshops. So there was a real sense of community and a real sense of getting to know people in your area. And what I also really loved about the campaign is, you know, it's not just, as we often see, you know, the training is in the big cities, for example, you know, or the training is in London. Actually, what is so great about She Means Business is it's throughout the country. So, you know, Kathy, I don't know if Kathy will hear this, Kathy in Norfolk, for example, she pre-COVID ran such a lovely, I think it was a bi-monthly meetup, where she would have quite a loyal group of ladies that were all at different stages of their business journey, and they would meet and they would really help each other, and they would troubleshoot and be that kind of soundboard for one another, which I think was amazing. Obviously, fast forward a few months now, and we haven't been able to meet in an offline capacity. So pros and cons for that. I would say a con is that we haven't really been able to have that regional impact as much, as I say, because you're not going out into that city, into that town, into that village. But what we have managed to do is actually make the training even more accessible. So because we have opened up the training to be delivered virtually, we've actually massively increased our reach and massively increased the amount of female founders that are being trained in various aspects of digital marketing and usage of Facebook and Instagram for their business. So that has been amazing. That's been a real blessing. And it's opened up many opportunities for women that actually maybe couldn't come out to an offline meetup. Maybe they had childcare responsibilities, or they were running their side hustle, their passion project late at night, so they can catch up on the training on their laptop. So in that aspect, it's been great. But I just hope that next year at some point we can have a bit of a hybrid campaign. I would love to see. We have really accessible training online that anyone can join at any time of the day. And also we can get that community feel and that sense of community back via the offline events. So yeah, that's my hope for the campaign moving forward, I guess.
No, and I I completely know what you mean. I became a trainer just before coronavirus went mad, and I haven't been able to give an in-person one yet, which is a shame because I'm really excited. I sort of sit on the Worcestershire Shropshire border and got Herefordshire included in my zone as well, and I'm really excited to meet some of the amazing small business owners from the community around me, and obviously slightly further because it's over a few counties, but it would be lovely as well to see those business owners interacting with each other at these events. As you say, it's not the trainer is like the facilitator, the kind of catalyst, but it's seeing, such and such who's got an amazing farm shop chat to someone else who sells amazing smellies and soaps, and actually they form these really cool connections and even do work with each other moving forward as well. It's bigger than the kind of the seed that the campaign's about, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it is providing, as I mentioned, that safe space to come and meet like-minded people. But when I say like-minded people, actually, like you say, a real diverse, group of people that are in different industries, they're at different stages of their business, so they can really help one another. And yeah, I completely agree. I think it's facilitating and setting up that environment where women can grow confidence, and as their confidence grows, they can learn more about their business, share more about their business and maybe troubles that they're having and they want to discuss with the group. So yeah, watching those relationships, those business relationships develop and be nurtured is really lovely, actually, and that's at the heart of the campaign, I would say.
But you do, with the work you do with Facebook, you have kind of how many people you're looking to train, don't you, over the course of a year? And I would imagine that the virtual aspect of it has made that a lot easier because you can just access anyone all over the UK with your trainings.
Absolutely, yeah. So historically, we've always wanted to reach, engage, and train 10,000 women across the UK. Obviously, this year that we've managed to unlock so many more opportunities to meet people in a virtual capacity. I'm actually working on the sort of end of year report, if you will, but I am confident to say that we have exceeded that target, and we're looking at sort of the numbers of 50,000 engaged with the campaign this year. So that's from tuning into a Facebook Live where one of you expert trainers is delivering a session on a certain topic. It's joining a virtual meetup where the trainer has helped facilitate troubleshooting and answered questions. It's Q&As, it's sessions that have been integrated into one of our larger Enterprise Nation events. And also, what has been amazing this year and what all you trainers have done so well is you have tried to keep that sort of regional aspect alive by delivering training in your own Facebook groups. So I know that you have a Facebook group for your area, so you've managed to still enable women in that region to connect. Yes, it's in a virtual capacity, but that's also helped to ensure that networking is still taking place and the training as well is being delivered within those groups. So yeah, we've reached a lot of women, which has been amazing. So yeah, really happy.
And another campaign that you are very involved in is called She's Got This. Can you tell us a bit about this campaign?
Absolutely, yeah. A little bit confusing with the names, to be honest. You have to remember which is which. But I guess She's Got This came about when the Rose Review was done, I believe, last year. So the Rose Review was conducted by Alison Rose, CEO of NatWest. And it basically highlighted, I guess, the obstacles women face when starting a business. So to name but a few, it was around sort of confidence levels, that dreaded feeling of imposter syndrome, which actually I don't believe is a gender specific thing. I think everyone at any stage of their life actually encounters imposter syndrome, but it was apparent that was an obstacle for a lot of women in the UK. And also the access to relatable role models. So maybe that woman that is on their business journey, but they're a couple of years ahead. So they're both sort of aspirational but achievable at the same time, and relatable because they've been there, done that, and I guess you can learn from them. And also there was a lot around financial education and support that women felt that they needed more access to. So that's where She's Got This came about, and we brought on some amazing partners to work with us. So we had Xero, UPS, TSB and O2 Business, and it was basically a campaign that, as I say, flourished this year, to further support women in business grow. So we have done a lot around financial education. So we've done Q&As with representatives from TSB. We've done basic accounting with Xero. And we also developed a really lovely program called the Tea and Chat series. And what that did, I guess, we started that at the beginning of lockdown, was enable women and entrepreneurs of all genders to kind of shut down at 12 every day, and join a session, and tune in and hear from a successful female founder, the highs and lows of entrepreneurship, and the what I wish I knew when I started kind of top tips, and ensure that women weren't feeling isolated and lonely at home. And that then developed into a bigger initiative by Enterprise Nation called the Lunch and Learn series, where every day throughout lockdown we have hosted a lunch and learn, and that has been on an array of all different topics to ensure that we are checking in with our community each and every day and supporting them to upskill, and keep challenging themselves and growing and thriving in business. So yeah, I guess it's a funny one because we launched She's Got This the day, I think it was the day after International Women's Day in March, and I think it was 3 days after that we went into national lockdown. Yes. So it was a really amazing breakfast. We had speakers, a panel, and it was very much a positive energy of, okay, how do we ensure that more women thrive in business, and how do we ensure that more women see self-employment as a viable option? Then this huge thing hit that we weren't expecting, and it was almost like a shock, and it took us a second to catch our breath and think, okay, how can we support women virtually? And similarly to She Means Business, we've tried to maintain that element of community and the element of making sure, should I say, that people are staying connected whilst ensuring that they are still learning and they are still getting the support that they need. So yeah, I think from my perspective, the Women in Business arm of Enterprise Nation is growing. I'm so excited to see what comes of it next year. And yeah, I think for us, it's continuing to support entrepreneurs of all genders, but ensuring that women have a voice and women have a platform, and women can see self-employment as a viable option. So I'm really excited to see, how we can further support next year, I guess.
Definitely. Do you know how She's Got This is going to kind of grow and expand moving into 2021, or is it very much it will evolve in line with what we're allowed to do or not allowed to do based on coronavirus?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think from our perspective, we don't want to bring anyone together, I guess, in offline capacity that they don't feel comfortable, they don't feel safe. And actually, we've done some research within our community and beyond, and a lot of people are really thriving and they are enjoying the virtual element. So regardless of campaign, should I say, at Enterprise Nation, I know that we will continue to have more of a hybrid approach moving forward. So we will not only go out into the community when it's safe to do so, but we will continue to support people in a virtual capacity as well. So there'll be a nice balance. But I think for me, what I really want to see next year, and it involves both She Means Business and She's Got This, is I really want to see our flagship events in an offline capacity. So Festival of Female Entrepreneurs, as I mentioned, has ran in Bristol for, I believe, 9 years. So next year it's our 10-year anniversary. And I just think, how amazing would it be after a crappy year, sorry to say, that we could bring all these amazing women together in one room, and we can have amazing inspirational speakers, successful entrepreneurs, panelists and experts from different industries, and it can be a real sort of celebration, I guess. So yeah, I just hope that can happen. So yeah, fingers crossed.
And that's, sorry, 2021, because I know we're recording this at the end of 2020, but 2021 is going to be.
Yes. Oh, apologies. Yes, it'll be this year then. So
So
yeah,
exciting.
fingers crossed, everyone, that we can host the 10-year anniversary of Festival of Female Entrepreneurs, and bring everyone together again in Bristol I think it'd probably be sort of the end of Q3. So fingers crossed.
It was funny, actually. I was chatting to a client a few weeks ago now, and she started talking about the Festival of Female Entrepreneurs and said how amazing it was and how it's on her list of things to go back to and to take part in, to be a not a customer, a visitor, a participant, again, to come along, and how incredible it was and what a positive energy it was for anyone who is female and in business.
Definitely, yeah. And I absolutely can't take credit for the reputation that it's had. I've only been involved in the past two. So I think it has really, yeah, I use the word flagship because I think it really has cemented itself as one of the sort of key, like, event cogs, if you will, within Enterprise Nation. And I think it's an event that people really do look forward to. I know often people will come with their friends, or they will come with sort of someone that they've met virtually, and they go, oh, do you fancy coming along to this with me? So yeah, it's just a really sort of beautiful experience because everyone comes together and it's really high spirits, and people leave feeling really energized, I think, for the future, and energized to either start a business or grow their business, which is really exciting.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think you do amazing work at Enterprise Nation anyway, and I think that you're kind of, the way you, to use the overused word, pivoted this year has been incredible. I mean, I've been lucky enough to host a few of the lunch and learns and chat away, but I've also watched and listened to a few, whether that's in real time or on replay. And you've had such an incredible mix of people on as well. I mean, that must be lovely when kind of you see something in your head and you think it'll be really great to get such and such on, and then the session is just incredible and you get that really cool feedback.
Definitely. And you know what? These lunch and learn events wouldn't exist without the dedication and support of our advisors. And these are experts in their field that want to pay it forward and give back to small businesses because they've learned a lot along the way and they have a lot to offer and support to give. So yeah, without the expert advisors, these event series wouldn't be what they are. So we really do value our advisor network, and we are so grateful for everyone that obviously participates in events and gets involved with maybe spreading the word. And I use the word cheerleader, but we really do have some amazing Enterprise Nation cheerleaders that are throughout the UK, and they really do champion the work that we do, and they share our message that we are here to support anyone and everyone on their business journey. So yeah, it's a really great place to work and a really great community to be involved with, I would say.
And would you have any kind of tips or advice for, as your specialist area is females in business, is there anything that you've picked up along your 2 years Enterprise Nation, or even in the last year, that would be really good tips for people who are hoping to improve their business or hoping to even start a business of their own?
Yeah, I mean, I've had the opportunity to be a bit of a sponge the past couple of years, I guess, and I've listened to so many expert people in their field, and all you guys are social media, PR, marketing experts. So there's so many tips kind of going and running through my head. But I think just to pick a few, I think one thing that a lot of entrepreneurs I guess suffer with and come to me and say, oh, I'm just not quite ready, I'm just not quite ready to start this venture. And I think people get stuck in this sort of hamster wheel of one more book or one more podcast or one more seminar or webinar that I should attend before I give this a go. And I think the thing that I have seen is no one is ready, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just sort of have to put out your work, put out your product or service or passion to the universe, and amend and pivot and change it as you go along. I don't think anyone ever sits there and is completely happy with their product or service. So I think that the first bit of advice would be just do it. I know that sounds a bit cheesy. Do you think?
No, I think you're absolutely right. Because the thing is as well, we can have this idea in our head of how it's all going to look, how people are going to interact with us. And then you put it out there and actually what we thought was going to happen doesn't quite. And you need to pivot anyway.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think from a sort of social media and marketing perspective, like for me, I am sort of most active on Instagram, and I see a lot of new startups and a lot of new businesses come on Instagram, and some absolutely thrive and they smash it and they get it right, and some don't. And I think, you know, there's no silver bullet with social media. I totally get that. And I think it is very much trial and error, but it does break my heart a little bit when I see people that have a great product or service, but they don't have, for example, good images. You know, they don't have sort of high res images. And I just think, you know, there's so many smartphones out there now, and there's so many tips and tricks that you can just literally Google, and you could create some really great imagery. I'm a huge fan of Canva. I think Canva can create you can create some amazing assets, and you don't have to have pretty much any skill at all with sort of design. So I think, you know, just invest in your virtual shop, if you will. So when people do come onto your platform, and this is everything you teach, you're expert in this, it's making sure that, you know, people are intrigued and they like what they see and they want to learn more, because the imagery is strong and the messaging is strong and the CTA, so the call to action, is strong. And also the amount of times I've clicked through to a website from Instagram, for example, and I can't find the product, or I can't find when it will be delivered, or it's not obvious where to purchase something or how to purchase something. So really think about that kind of audit, and take yourself and your friends through that journey, and make sure that it's simple, because people are lazy and people will click off and go with someone else. So I definitely think that, and you know, a sort of the last thing, but there's probably so many tips, would be consistency. And I think this is very apparent when it comes to promoting your business and your service online. You know, it's okay growing your network and growing your community, but how do you keep them engaged? You can't just be bombarding them, say, thank you so much for following me, now I won't talk to you for a month. So consistency, I would say, is key. So yeah, and I think people get overwhelmed with the amount of social media platforms that are out there at the moment, and there is so many. And why not just home in on one? Home in on the one that you think well, you know, because you've researched that's where your target audience is, and also one that you love, because I think if you don't love posting on that particular platform, then you're really not going to get any joy from it, and it's going to become a chore. So don't spread yourself too thinly on different platforms. Focus on your sort of one true love, should I say, and mine's Instagram. What do you think? That's right?
No, I absolutely do, because I think all the platforms have got their own sort of nuances, and you know, you can't put links into your Instagram caption, for example. Well, you can, but they just don't work. So if you're trying to learn everything at the same time, it is really overwhelming, because they've all got, you know, there's character limits here, there's hashtags here, there's more hashtags, there's this, there's that, and you can just get very, very confused. Whereas if you just focus on one at a time, it's much easier. And also if you focus on one that you really like, and as you say, it's only worth really looking where your target customer is, or where the bulk of them are. It makes it much, much easier, because the last thing you want to do is get completely overwhelmed and then not post on anything, because that's just the worst thing.
Definitely. No, I totally agree. And also, if you are, I guess, picking a couple of platforms, tailor your messaging to that platform. There's so many times that I see people sort of just post something on Facebook to come through to Instagram, but it just doesn't sit quite right.
No.
So yeah, I guess sort of make sure you know your target audience, pick one or two platforms, and really focus on building them up, and finding joy, and have fun as well. I think then, if this year's taught us anything, it's the fact that we can be quite honest and authentic, and you know, entrepreneurs, if you will, business owners, have had a hell of a year, and there's been so many highs and lows, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of people have had lows, and I think people have really appreciated and sympathized or empathized with those business owners that have been honest and authentic online. You know, Instagram stories, for example, people love to see the face behind the business. So don't be afraid to sort of show the raw side of entrepreneurship, because I think people really respect that. I think people often worry about sort of showing their face or showing the bad days, but I think that's just part of it, isn't it? So I think if you are true to yourself and you are sharing your most honest and authentic self, people will really believe that, and people will buy from people that they believe in, I guess.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think stories are brilliant. I mean, I'm a big story fan anyway, but because you just show up as you are, I mean, I tend to do stories when I'm walking the dog. I'll do some after recording this actually, because I've got something I want to talk about. But I just do it because the things that you pick yourself apart for, like at the moment, the grey hair or the wrinkles or the tiredness, the rest of the world don't see it. They hear what you're saying, they see the passion in your voice or the excitement in your eyes, and they are not being as critical as you are of you, but they're listening to that message that you have to share, that you want to share. And it's got the ability to really touch them and allow them to connect with you, or you to connect with them on a much deeper level.
Definitely. Yeah, totally agree. And if anyone is listening, I guess, that wants to sort of show more of, you know, themselves and the person behind the business, but maybe are feeling a little bit apprehensive, then maybe, you know, collaborate with one of your business friends. And maybe if you want to do an Instagram live, you can invite them on, so it's more of a conversation like we're having now, so it doesn't feel like you know, as much pressure. But as you say, you know, everyone's got their own thing going on. If they want to listen to your story and not sort of swipe, you know, off it, it's because they want to hear what you've got to say, and they're not fixating on all those things, as you say, that aren't right or whatever. And you know, it's been a weird year. No one's got perfect hair, and everyone's a little
No.
bit pale, a little bit tired, and that's what a filter's for, you know. So it's fine. And you know, pop a little filter on there, and yeah, Bob's your uncle.
Definitely. Well, that's been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lauren. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before I ask you all the places where we can find both Enterprise Nation and yourself online? Because I know I love following you on Instagram as well.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. No, I don't think there's anything from me. I think I'm just really grateful to have you involved in She Means Business. Like, you're such a breath of fresh air, and any opportunities that come about, you're really, really up for it, which I love. I love sort of collaborating with you. And yeah, I just hope to do more next year. And I think Enterprise Nation has just grown massively over the past sort of few months, because we have really stepped up to be there for our small business audience. So I just think it's a great place to be, and I think, you know, you get out of it what you put in. So head on over, come talk to us, because, you know, it'll be the start of a really great thing between us.
Definitely. Can you tell us all the places we can find out more about Enterprise Nation and your good self online?
Absolutely. So I guess the first place to look for, you know, what is Enterprise Nation, head over to enterprisenation.com, and you'll see various events, resources. We post daily blogs of all the business news. I mean, there's been a lot of it, so we digest that and make it easier for you to understand. We also have an Instagram page, so it's at @e_nation, and you can get me on LinkedIn. Always love to chat, so you'll find me Lauren Malone on LinkedIn, and then you'll find me on Instagram at Lauren Ann in London.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lauren. It's been an absolute joy as always.
No, thank you. And yeah, well, as soon as it's in January, I hope everyone had a great Christmas and New Year, managed to sort of switch off for a few days, hopefully, and everyone's back feeling refreshed. And yeah, here's to a good 2021, hopefully.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Take care.